Hello. It is a very, very cold Monday night here on here in Jersey. There's lots of snow outside. Oh, that's right. Jean Malot's birthday is today. Very happy birthday to Jean. I saw he's having a birthday party on his own page. Happy Valley's in the house. Speaking of which, Roy, Happy Valley Comic Con. It's at the end of February. It's February 28th and March 1st. And I'm going to be there with the one and only Tracy Coco. We're going to have a blast. Happy Valley Comic Con is huge. Central Pennsylvania is beautiful. It's right next door to where Jonathan Frakes grew up. Bellefonte, Pennsylvania is right next door to State College. State College is the home of Penn State, where I lived for 10 years. I absolutely love it up there. I cannot wait to go up, hang out with my Happy Valley friends, and show Tracy around. That's the plan. You might be there. It is literally down the street from you. I know where you live in Lamont. It's literally down the street from you. Don't give me that. Don't give me that, Rory. You better at least come for one day. So yeah, there's this little teeny tiny town sort of like stuck in the middle of State College. It's literally surrounded by State College. It's awesome. Look who it is. Hey, Dave Gregory. Oh, yep. Trisha's there too. There's going to be a lot of great guests there. I'm really excited. I am really, 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 really excited. Hey, Chris. How are you? Thanks for joining. Missed you last week. So thanks for popping in again. So there's that. Happy Valley Comic Con. It's going to be just over a month. It's going to be. I can't wait. I haven't been back to State College in a while, so I can't wait. Always need a reason to go back up there. Ed! Everybody say hi to Ed. Ed is an amazing human. He has been such a huge supporter of my show. Without him, I don't know how I would have been able to do STLV the last couple of years. So thank you, Ed. I'm so glad you're here so that I can say that to everybody. Ed's amazing. Thank you, Ed, for the last couple of years of support. I really appreciate it to no end. Speaking of STLV, one of the coolest things about STLV this year is going to be my buddy, Darren, who owns KlingonShop.com, which, let me see, I can type that. KlingonShop.com. He is going to be there his very first year. He's coming in to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Trek, and he is bringing his handmade weaponry. When I met him a couple years ago at Trek Long Island, I picked up a mek'leth. I love this thing. It's heavy. I mean, this is, here, listen. Hear how solid that is? Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. That's my desk. I'm worried I'm going to put holes in my desk because, I mean, this is like sharp. These are actual points. He has to wrap them specifically for traveling. But these are gorgeous, and he makes full-size batleths. Jean lives up in the Great White North. I feel like going coo, 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 coo. Yeah, it's cold everywhere. It's colder than usual in Jersey. Yes. Okay. Here's the thing. The shop right now is closed. So follow us on social media because I'm working with them. Follow the Klingon Shop on social media so that you can get all the updates on what he's going to be bringing. Right now it's looking like 10 batleths. We're talking about maybe doing some pre-orders. Don't know yet. They do have a FedEx. Hold on, I gotta mute my phone. Not because it's going to distract you guys. It's going to distract me. Hold on. Okay. So he might be doing some pre-orders. Don't know yet. Maybe. Don't know yet. But we're definitely talking about, and he's definitely looking at selling autographed products. As you can see, mine's autographed. In case you can't read it. And I wish that there was a way. I just don't want to pack this in my suitcase because I'd be afraid that it would like slide into a bottle and then I'd have like shampoo all over the inside of my luggage. That's JG. JG signed it for me. It says Says JG Hertzler Martok. I would love to get Bob O'Reilly's signature on the other side. If he ever comes east, I am probably going to work on it with him to do that. Yeah, what? Okay, so we're all comparing temperatures. Right now in Jersey, it is. Oh, come on, AccuWeather. Don't let me down now. 17 degrees as per AccuWeather. It is 17 degrees. So, yeah, it's cold all over. Oh, no, that sounds like. See, that's the only problem with working from home is that I can't take off. My office doesn't close. I'm here. And I can't leave. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and somebody's got my dad's picking me up in their SUV because I can't get my Mustang out of the driveway. Can I drive a Mustang in the snow? Yes. Am I going to drive a Mustang over the big mound of snow that is now at the bottom of my driveway because my street got plowed? No. I like the undercarriage of my car too much. So can I drive it in the snow? Yes. Do I choose to? No. Especially because my parents are awesome and my dad happens to be off work, so he's going to come and get me. But yeah, this is the first like snowstorm we've had in a while. I feel like this is the first one. Last year, I don't feel like we had anything that even like reached this magnitude. Oh, who is this? I keep getting this out from my Discord. Yeah, Ed, we're going to ignore that because we love you. So let's get into tonight's topic. I was really excited to talk about this. Oh, first of all, this is my Monkey Men shirt because I am going to be celebrating other shows that have their 60th anniversary this year. Like I said, the Monkees, Arlene Mattel from Amok Time was in an episode. So I am celebrating tonight. The Monkees' 60th anniversary is also 1966. So Starfleet Academy. The Starfleet Academy. I watched it last night. The stories are getting interesting. Very much like the shenanigans. I love how the word shenanigans is still a thing. I didn't say it was a Batleth, Jean. It's a Mechlef. It's a Mechlef. The guy who makes the Batleths makes these. It's a smaller one. It's a Mechlef. I know it's not a Batleth. It's a Mechlef. I mentioned that when I opened it. It's a Mechlef. I believe Mechlef. I know because there's another one too that's more of like a knife shape one. But if you go to KlingonShop.com, I know Dave put up the page, and so did I. He has them all named and laid out. Everyone that he met. If I called it a Batleth at some point, I shouldn't have, but it is a Mechlef. That much I do know. It is a Mechlef. So if I said Batleth, I didn't mean it. It's a Mechlef. So no worries, John. Okay. So Starfleet Academy was so great. I'm really enjoying it. The shenanigans are fun. Very, very college. Very. It is very college oriented. Like it's still kind of got that feel like it's universal. Like this. Like there's some things that just with the passage of time just aren't going to die, and these college rivalries are one of them. Competition is great. We all know that. So, it's character building, but I just thought the episode was great. I thought they are starting to balance the humor. They're toning it down and making it fit much better. It's not over the top like it was in the first couple of episodes, but oh my God, the lens flare. Every time they were playing basketball or just, no, it's like they toned down one thing and then they amped up the lens flare. That's not true. Everyone else doesn't hate it. I love it. I think most of the people in here love it. Yeah, just hit Facebook, Jean. If you don't have a profile on Facebook, hit Facebook. There's a lot of love for Starfleet Academy out there. There is absolutely a lot of love for Starfleet Academy out there. And it's well deserved. I think it definitely deserves a chance. I know I'm disappointed we didn't get Starfleet Legacy, but that's okay. Because it's good. Okay, because I'm enjoying Academy. And hopefully if Academy does well, then I'm hoping that will mean that maybe we will get Legacy. Okay, so what else did I like? I am still loving the Chancellor. Every time I turn around, I am absolutely, absolutely, absolutely loving the Chancellor. Everything she does, I forgot how much I absolutely love Holly Hunter. There's this really great show that she did, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm just double checking. I'm making sure I get the name right because I used to love this show. Yep, Saving Grace. There is a show. It's from 2007 called Saving Grace. It only had 3 seasons, but it was absolutely fantastic. Will Thok ever get her turducken? I hope so. Oh, that would be awesome. She deserves it. That turducken comment. Now that was funny. That was funny. Okay, so real quick, Saving Grace, fantastic, fantastic show. Holly Hunter was amazing, and it was actually about Holly Hunter's character having a guardian angel. It was very cool. It was very unique. It was very cool. I highly recommend if you guys are looking for something new to watch. I don't know does it say where it is? I don't know. Oh wait, where can you watch it? Fandango. Crap. Amazon Prime's making you rent it, unless I don't know if you have to rent it, but it is on Amazon Prime. But yeah, I highly recommend if you want to look at something else Holly Hunter's done. Saving Grace. More reports from the front lines of Facebook. More of the early naysayers have finally quieted down and we're getting more genuine reviews. There we go. You have to give something more than like the first 2 episodes. Always. Even if it's Star Trek, even if it's like supposed to be, part of something that you love, you absolutely need to give it a couple more episodes. But speaking of Thok and turducken, how awesome is it that, oh my God, it's Thok and, I can't remember Tig Notaro's character name. Oh my God. And I love that character. How awesome that they're a couple. And once again, kudos for all of the organic. Everything in the show, all of the writing is very organic. It's very smooth. It's not hitting you over the head with things. Little spats between a dating couple. Just, that's all that was. We're getting to know all of the cadets. We kind of centered it on Mir last week because he's gonna obviously be a very focal point. It's kind of like his story's the center. But this week we got to know more about Genesis. We got to know more about the other cadets and their reasons for being in Starfleet, what drives them. But just bits and pieces, and again, very organically, conversations are just, things are just letting us know who all these kids are, who they're going to be turning into. I call them kids. Who they are, who they're going to be turning into. All of that kind of stuff is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So I'm really enjoying it. I love the life lessons. I love the whole thing about patience and empathy in the plants. Yep. 2, brother and sister. That's going to be interesting. I really love that too. I mentioned it last week. I'm so glad that they're doing Betazoids. I 100% agree with you. Thok and Jet. Thank you. I could not think of Jet's name. Thok and Jet. They were awesome. I think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic from a relationship standpoint. But also, yes, turducken needs to happen. I love that. Turducken has also survived because obviously it survived into Jet's century and then Jet just brought it with her. So yes, I love that. Absolutely. Okay. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. I'm really starting to enjoy it. Like I said, everything that Holly Hunter does is fantastic. The pajamas, the way she lounges around, her bare feet. I love her logic behind bare feet and absorbing electrons. I hate shoes. I have a lot of them, but if I don't have to wear them, I won't. I have walked around New York City in bare feet because I picked this really cute pair of shoes and made the mistake of not breaking them in, and I had the worst blisters. I couldn't walk. I have actually walked around New York City in bare feet. Yeah, I think I agree. Sam's going to be awesome too. I thought it was great that they brought photonic life forms into this after introducing them to us in Voyager. The fact that they're, kind of mainlining themselves, getting into the mainstream, trying to learn mascot shenanigans with it. I love that they had a Mugatu. You know what I forgot? You know what I forgot to mention? Last week. See, now I just forgot it again. Something Mugatu. If it comes to me in the middle of the main part of the show, I will totally talk about it. Let's see. Lorette is cool. Thaco or Renok. Renok is sort of reminiscent of Ragnarok. I like Lorette. That's a good one. I'll go with your first choice. Joel. Yeah, I think Sam's going to be a lot of fun. Sam's going to be fun. I love how they use the fact that she's permeable to to do that little trick. And finally get their points. I think that's fantastic. So, all right, the main event. I don't know why the theme to Enterprise just popped into my head. The theme to Gunsmoke should have popped into my head. But we're doing Gunsmoke. We are comparing Gunsmoke to Star Trek. And maybe, I don't know, unless you guys want to hear the guest announcements. I always forget because it's streaming. Like, I literally forgot until Sunday. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to watch Starfleet Academy. So yeah, at least I don't have to wait a week because I forgot and waited until Sunday, and I'll probably forget again. So you guys have a choice. Do you want to talk about Star Trek and Gunsmoke first, or do you want to talk about my three guest announcements? I've got guest announcements. I'm so excited. And not only did I get one, not two, but as of yesterday, I confirmed for three big guest announcements. Or three big guests. And I'm like totally over the moon about it. Yes, cowboys. Cowboys and spaceships. Yeah, and you know what? This comparison is going to be so much better than Cowboys and Aliens, which I have seen, by the way. It was not a terrible movie. It's a very interesting movie. But these cowboys and these space people haven't met, so this is not Cowboys and Aliens, but I love it, Joel. I absolutely love it. Okay. So I gotta show it again. It is my show. Guests. All right, Roy. If I tell you guys now, Roy, you have to come to at least one day of Happy Valley Comic-Con, and you promised us a bar tour. I haven't been to the first probably since I left. So we gotta go to the first, dude. Oh my God. 5 is right out. Absolutely. There's a movie coming out with Kiefer Sutherland that looks really cute, and it takes place in London. There was a scene in the trailer, and they were in an actual court. Like, this was actually court, and some of the people that were in the gallery actually started doing Monty Python stuff. Yes, that was awesome too. That was absolutely awesome. They shenaned once, they will shenan again. Okay, I love wordplay. I absolutely love wordplay. All right, so let's do the guests before I jump in, and we're going to do them in chronological order. So for the next 2 weeks, I have guests. Next week, which is February 2nd, which is Groundhog Day, which is LeBeau's Gotcha Day. So it'll be exactly a year since I adopted LeBeau. And David Livingston's going to be on the show. The one and only David Livingston. And if I can, I'm going to get him to wear a Beatles shirt. Because when I talked to him in Vegas, he was wearing a Beatles shirt. So the one and only David Livingston is going to be joining me. Then, on 2/9, a week later, and this actually ties into what we're talking about tonight, because, and this one came as a referral, and I am so happy. It's Vince Dedrick Jr. Vince Dedrick Jr. was the stunt coordinator, the main stunt coordinator for this show right behind me, the one and only Star Trek Enterprise. And he was one of the main, if not the main stand-in for Scott Bakula, and he still has his Scott Bakula Enterprise uniform. He is absolutely, I can't wait to have him. It's so funny, when I got, yes, and you're right, and I can't wait for, I can't wait to have him. I can't wait to have him on the show. I've been dying for him to come on the show, so I'm really excited. After I talked to him last year and the year before. Yep. So I'm gonna have to make that request. I'm gonna have to tell him he can't come on the show unless he wears a Beatles shirt, because I am a Beatles girl. So, yep. So can't wait to see him. Okay. After that is Vince, and I am so excited about Vince. When I was talking to him, and we were, we just started emailing, and he mentioned to me that he'd been to STLV a couple times. I'm not sure I'm going to ask him to wear the uniform. I'm going to leave that totally up to him. But the one thing I really wanted to ask him about, that I was thinking about asking him about, this picture he sent me from his booth in one of the STLVs that he did, has a picture of him talking to Stephen Culp and Dominic Keating for Harbinger, because he choreographed that fight with them. And that's what I wanted to ask him about, because I love that fight scene. And I have to ask him how bruised the guys got. We all saw them bruised afterwards. I have to wonder if any of the bruising was real, because there was a lot of close work on that. So there was a lot of stuff like Reed flying across the, doing that flying leap. Obviously, he didn't leap on top of, Steven. That was cut in, I'm sure. But even so, that's just so exciting. I can't wait. Plus, his dad worked on the original series, and his dad worked on Gunsmoke. So hence the tie-in. So I'm really excited to have Vince. And the reason that I have both of those amazing guests coming on is due to the one and only John Billingsley. Because John shot me an email. He wanted to introduce me to Vince. He thought Vince would be a good fit. I agree. I swear to God, if Vince comes and signs at my booth, which is looking like it possibly could happen, if Vince is signing at my booth, this year in Vegas, if I get permission, I've already emailed Ryan. If I get permission to have Vince signing at my booth, between him and John, I would really hope that somebody would tell me, just let me, wave to Scott Bakula. Just something. Just get me, I don't have $300 zillion to get a Scott Bakula autograph. I actually have a Scott Bakula autograph. I would literally have to pay, $200, $300 to get him to personalize the autograph I already have. It would be worth it. So anyway, John and I started talking about Vince. I asked John about David. And then I said, well, John, of course, when are you and Bonnie coming on again? And they're tentatively coming on the beginning of March 9th. I may not be having a show on March 2nd, because that's when I'm coming back from State College. And I don't want to have a show and then have something happen while I'm trying to get home. Like snow, because it's central Pennsylvania. Leaving central Pennsylvania in March, you could be leaving in snow. So yeah, hi LeBeau. Oh, LeBeau's wanting to know why I'm here. Hi, we're doing a show, Bob. Mommy's doing a show. So Trek Talks is at the end of March this year. So of course John and Bonnie are going to come on. We're going to talk Trek Talks. We're going to talk Hollywood Food Coalition. We're going to talk Star Trek. Bring your questions, as always. Bring any question you want, because John cannot be embarrassed. He has yet to be embarrassed by anything anybody has asked him. So please bring your worst. He's already been asked about the tree thing in True Blood a lot, so including by me. So we don't need to talk to him about the tree. But I did love him in True Blood. I need to rewatch True Blood. Okay, I am rewatching True Blood. I need to watch a couple more episodes. Okay, so as we hop along into our main topic, which is Star Trek and Gunsmoke. And why am I talking about those two? Well, because like I said, Gunsmoke was my grandfather's favorite, and I started watching it a few years ago, and I got hooked. I've always been a cowboy. Grew up, being a little cowgirl kind of thing. I always loved horses. I always loved, cowboys. Roy Rogers. I ate Roy Rogers fried chicken, which back then, like literally walking into Roy Rogers was the coolest thing because it was set up with like, instead of having like, ropes guiding you from the line up to the counter, it was literally old style fence posts. So I just absolutely, absolutely love cowboys and westerns. So I started watching Gunsmoke. And one of the things I loved about watching Gunsmoke was how many guest stars were on it that were modern day guest stars, people that I knew. Loretta Swit, Harrison Ford, John Voight, Tom Skerritt. I'm rattling off people that I've literally just seen. The one dude from Emergency was on the episode I was watching today, and I don't remember the actor's name. The actor, half of Little House on the Prairie, broke their teeth in the dirt of Gunsmoke before they went on to Little House on the Prairie. Today's episode had Miss Beadle. The barber in town is the guy that owns the mill that Charles works at. The Reverend's been in a couple episodes, and I think Doc Baker's been in a couple episodes. So half of Little House on the Prairie has cut their teeth in the Old West doing Gunsmoke. So that was one of the things. Jan Brady was in Gunsmoke. There was just a lot of that was fun for me watching that. But then, as I mentioned, last year was their 70th anniversary. Gunsmoke premiered in black and white for half-hour shows on September 10th, 55. So, just over 11 years and 2 days before Star Trek premiered. 11 years and 2 days. So, darn it, train of thought. But anyway, so, so Gunsmoke's was around. It was the longest running TV show until Law and Order SVU took that away. That's okay though, because it's still the longest running Western. But the more I watched it, the more I started to understand and kind of see the similarities. And like I said, last year was their 70th anniversary. So one of the channels that I have was doing, Gunsmoke weeks, and the one week was famous guest stars. And so one of them was Adam West. One of them was Leonard Nimoy. So that got me thinking. And then I literally just saw the William Shatner one the other day. And then I come to find out that also DeForest Kelley and Jimmy Doohan have done episodes. Haven't seen those yet. But the parallels that you can make. Let's start with, you got Marshall Dillon and you've got Captain Kirk. Both have the swagger. Both are strong. They're very moral. They have this very, they have empathy, and they have a very strong moral compass. They know what's right, and even sometimes if you have to bend a little bit with the rules. Dylan didn't bend as much as Kirk has done, but they understood bending. They understood human behavior. They understood how to take situations as they came and lived by the situational ethics where I am in the now and what do I have to do now to make things right. So they were very similar in how they approached whatever their problems or challenges were. Then you've got, at the beginning when it was on the radio and then it finally moved to TV, there was a sidekick, Chester. I don't watch the Chester episodes. I am more partial to Festus, who came along a little later. So Festus is kind of the Spock. Festus is second in command. That's pretty much where the similarity ends, except for the loyalty that Matt inspires in his crew, in his people, is the same loyalty that Kirk inspires, and that friendship. Even though, Matt's a marshal, Festus is his deputy, Kirk is the captain, everybody under it, but there was still always that friendship there. And then, of course, there's a doc. Every town's got an old doc. And Bones and Doc Adams could have been cut from the same cloth. I swear to God. Both crotchety, curmudgeon-y, and they both had this adversarial relationship with the second in command. Doc and Festus go at it the same way Bones and Spock went at it, just a little more frequently. But that was always funny, is that deep down they liked each other, but there was always that adversarial kind of but that there was a very strong resemblance in that. Miss Kitty. So how could you compare Miss Kitty to Lieutenant Uhura? Well, Miss Kitty was a trailblazer in 1955, and she was portrayed as owning a saloon. She was a business owner, but not only that, she was tough as nails. She was a survivor. The things that happened to her because she was Matt's woman. She has been shot in the back, assaulted, beaten up, dragged, kidnapped, all of these horrible things. And she comes out of every situation stronger than when she went into it. And it's the same thing with Lieutenant Uhura. She was a fixture. She was a strong woman on the bridge doing a job. So I think obviously their jobs were very different, but the strength that was written into both of these female characters for their time period, I think was extraordinary. It's like I said, this woman, Kitty, owned a bar. She stood by her man, even though he wouldn't give her the time of day. But yeah, everything that happened to her, and she just kept, she walked out with her head held high. Okay. So the other big comparisons that you could draw, Gene Roddenberry always said that Star Trek was the wagon train to the stars. Now, I really always thought that he just meant, and I've never watched Wagon Train, but I knew it was all about going west. I just figured the exploratory aspect. But, and I know my parents, I literally asked my parents about this. Wagon Train had the same kind of moral compass that Gunsmoke has. I just like Gunsmoke, so we're doing Gunsmoke. But it wasn't just the exploratory aspect. Gunsmoke was ahead of its time in the same way that Star Trek was, teaching tolerance and respect and denying bigotry in all forms. Matt Dillon never disrespect. He had so much respect for all of the Native Americans. So much more respect, because obviously back then they were the class of people that them and African Americans, and those were the minorities of the time. Those were the main minorities, and there were so many episodes where Matt was defending the rights of the Native Americans, and he was showing them. Thanks, Dave. And he was showing people, he didn't tolerate bigotry. He had respect for these for everyone. I mean, granted, did they portray some Native Americans as warlike and stuff? Yes. I'm not going to say that Gunsmoke was perfect. In fact, when TV Land runs it, it puts up a little message about outdated stereotypes as being part of the show. And that's totally true. But Matt would never tolerate if somebody came in and called all Native Americans savages. No, that didn't fly. The same way with African Americans, he didn't tolerate it. So those lessons, those core lessons that Star Trek tried, Gunsmoke also tried. And in fact, there was even an episode that was very Prime Directive, that I was just thinking about when I was writing this up. There was an episode where Festus, I forget where he found this very old Native American, but he was in a cave by himself. And I think Festus fell off his mule or something and got rescued. And Festus got the guy into town. He's like, you shouldn't be out here by yourself. You're old. Thinking that this was the right thing to do. An old man in a cave by himself? That's no way to live. You're going to die. Brings the guy into town, and that's where they explain to him, no, that's the point. This is their culture. When a brave reaches a certain age, he goes out and he lives his last days in peace in a cave, by himself, away from the tribe. I forget why. Festus didn't want to hear it. It took the entire episode for Festus to understand that just because he thought he was doing this guy a service by trying to save his life, that's not what this man wanted, because that's not what his culture dictated. His culture dictated that he needed to be in he needed to do this traditional passage into the next life. So there was even like a prime directive thing. It's like, Festus, stop interfering. Stop interfering with this man's culture. And of course, there were people in the town that were picking on the guy for being Native American, and there was that aspect as well. But I always thought that that was interesting. And as I'm writing, I was like, wait a minute, this is so prime directive. Don't interfere. And that was another thing. Matt always had respect for the cultures. The other thing that if you think about, is kind of interesting. Yeah, caves are very Trek. That is also very true. I didn't look it up. I should look up where they shot it. See if it was anywhere near where they used to shoot those Trek episodes, and where the Bat Cave is, which right now I'm drawing a blank on. But here's another kind of parallel you can draw. When you're on a starship, that's it. That's like your little town. It's just you guys in this tin box flying around the universe. Well, when you look at Dodge City, because of the way the finances were at the time, the way travel was either walking, horses of a buggy or a riding type, the train, or the stagecoach. But not everybody could afford to travel. So when you were in that town, it's a great show. If you like horses, it's a great show. Plus, you can never get bored, because there's over 20 years worth of episodes. This is back when TV shows had over 20 episodes a season. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly how many it had. Hold on a second. That's the other thing I love about IMDb. And like I said, just watching it and going, I know that face. Swear to God, half the fun of Gunsmoke is seeing who's in it. Did I mention that Harrison Ford was in more than one episode, actually. All right, come on. Gunsmoke. It also had a bunch of movies in the 90s. Oh, let's see. Somewhere in here. Looks like it has a total of 635 episodes, according to IMDb. I really thought it was going to be more. Hello, Lasso. I'm sorry, Themyscira never gets cold. Does it? It doesn't, because of where it is. Well, thank you, Joel. See, Bronson Canyon. That makes sense. That makes sense. Good to see you, Lasso. We were talking about Batman and stuff that you could have been here before, but you know what? I know you're going to do a rewatch. So because the lack of movement, because people didn't travel a lot back in those days, Dodge City was like their little ship. Everybody in that town depended on everybody else. Now, there wasn't a military hierarchy, obviously. It was a town, or more like a space station, but it was a town. But that community depended on each other the same way that everybody on a starship depends on everybody. You built relationships with your neighbors back then. You built that trust. There was an episode where somebody fell down a well. The entire town came out to get them out of the well, because they were a community the same way on a starship, and they could depend on each other in that community the same way that everybody on a starship, whether or not you liked them, you could depend. You all had to depend on yourselves, and it's the same way. So I like that aspect. That's not, and it's definitely not how it is today. I'm not sitting here bemoaning the fact that we don't live in the Old West, although I wouldn't mind having a horse in my backyard. I have a Mustang in my garage, not quite the same. Especially since I can't get out of my driveway because there's a big mound of snow that the plows left at the bottom of it. Yes, actually, Jean didn't mention it's his birthday. Somebody else did. Who mentioned it when they popped in? Oh, Joel did, right? Joel said happy birthday to Jean first. But yes, it is Jean's birthday. So again, happy birthday, Jean. We're hoping you have a fantastic day. So I like that aspect. The community, just from the fact that, again, they were pretty much all they had, depended on each other. The same way that you have to depend on everybody on a starship to make it run. A town depends on its people much more back then than now. Like, now people barely know their neighbors. Back then, like I said, somebody fell in a well, everybody got up and went out. People brought food, people brought coffee, and they sat and they listen. I would love to go to Quebec, but it's a little too nippy right now. But it is. But I think my little brother's birthday's tomorrow. The one person on the planet I consider my little brother, his birthday's tomorrow. But yeah, so I think that there's just a lot of similarities, and it's more than just all of the guest stars. Because Arlene Mattel was on both. I believe she actually played a Native American in Gunsmoke, if I remember correctly. But she was definitely mentioned it last week. The one and only John Anderson, the Wisnok guy, was in 2 episodes. The guy that fell down the well episode, John Anderson was in that one. I think, like I said, I think Gunsmoke is a fantastic watch. I think, again, it tells these. Sometimes it really is just a shoot 'em up episode. But sometimes the episodes are really sad. The one with Adam West was really sad. He wasn't even a main character. He was in it, but he was only in a few scenes. But it was a very, very, very sad episode. So sometimes they're sad, sometimes that's the other thing. Sometimes they're sad, sometimes they're funny. That's right. Gunsmoke did have a little comic relief, just like Star Trek sometimes had comic relief. But there were always these really great scripts that not only wanted to tell good stories, but have a meaning behind their stories, have some gravitas, have some weight. The one I was watching today was all about, revenge is a dish best served cold. But the guy didn't get his vengeance. He held on to this vengeance for 10 years, only to find that the guy that he wanted to seek revenge on did not remember him because he got sick. He in the 10 years since this guy hurt the other guy, he got sick, lost all of his memories, didn't remember the guy. So it was just a lot having to do with vengeance and letting go, and living your life. But these stories are really, really well written. Like I said, there's the pioneering spirit, it's not wagon train, but there were people that were passing through on their way to unknown lands. There were a lot of people, that passed through. There was this one really great episode that I just watched where again, talking about bigotry and assumptions. There was an episode where this guy was trying to blame this 12-year-old Native American kid for killing his cattle and stealing them for beef. And it turns out, and the rancher just assumed that because this Native American kid was hanging around, it was him. Wasn't him. It was actually, forget who it was. He beat the kid to a pulp, and it wasn't him. So there are a lot of episodes like that. So that's why I was drawing those similarities. It's great storytelling. And I've always said this, and I said it earlier, when there's good organic storytelling, then the stories can have that moral center, and they can have something that they want you to learn or remember or see. They want to hold that mirror up to society and say, hey, take a look at this and see how wrong it is, or see why we need to fix this. Star Trek did it. Star Trek did it really well. Being the space show that it was, I think that was like the spoonful of sugar that helped the medicine go down in a way, because these lessons were were wrapped up in space adventure, which I think is part of the problem why there are people out there that call themselves Star Trek fans, but they never really got it, because literally all of the lessons went over their heads. But Gunsmoke was like that too. wrap it up in a great Western, good context, strong acting, good stories. But hey, look, not don't don't jump to conclusions. Don't be bigoted against Native Americans. Don't be bigoted against your neighbor. Don't be bigoted against anybody. You know? So it's just, yeah, like I said, if you're looking for something the complete opposite of Starfleet Academy as far as times, I highly recommend it. You can stream it on IMDb. It's fantastic. Like I said, I like Festus over Chester. Chester was in it in the beginning, and then he was replaced by Festus. My mom has this thing. She likes Chester better. That's because she actually grew up listening to the radio. She listened to the radio version, and Chester was in the radio version. So that was like her first Gunsmoke. My first Gunsmoke was Festus. Kind of like your first Doctor. But yeah, so that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. Was just how cool it is not only to have all those different crossover guest stars, but to have that storytelling, that quality storytelling that's trying to hold that mirror up to society and show them just say, look, this isn't right. Twilight Zone does that too. Rod Serling was a fantastic storyteller. My favorite Twilight Zone episode is called The Masks. Doesn't have anybody in it that I know, actor-wise, but it's just really, really good. It's really good. All the Burgess Meredith episodes are good. But yeah, Twilight Zone's the same thing. That's okay, East Dubuque Bridge. It's good to see you again. And I hope Chester appreciates being fed. But Twilight Zone did the same thing. Rod Serling had a lot to say about bigotry. He was a Jew during the Holocaust. He had a lot to say about bigotry. And there is actually one really good episode where a Nazi goes back to a concentration camp and it's haunted by the ghosts of a lot of the victims, and it is so good. But yeah, Rod Serling was, some of them were just really good stories, and then some of them had a lot to say. So, all right. So I think that about... He did. Yes, he did. He also made growly noises when he was trying to tell somebody how to box. Feeding time. Yeah, feeding time is a thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, like I said, go watch Gunsmoke. If for no other reason, to see a very young, look it up. See very young Star Trek actors starting out, seeing even younger Han Solo starting out. Who else? I'm trying to think if there's anybody. Loretta Swit is one of my favorite actresses. I love MASH, and she was on a 2-part episode. And like I said, look up Arlene Mattel, find her episode as well. She was everywhere in the 60s, Arlene Mattel. Absolutely everywhere. She was fantastic. She was also on, I know I've said this before, like a bunch of episodes of Hogan's Heroes. So anyway, guys, wherever you are, please stay warm. Stay warm, stay safe. Don't drive if you don't have to, especially those of us that are in sub-zero temperatures where, black ice will be. So, Jean Malo, please, enjoy the rest of your chilly birthday and stay safe. Everybody else, also stay safe. Ed, not even going to talk about the fact that you're enjoying non-snowy weather. That's all I'm going to say about that. And please mark your calendars and be here next week for the one and only David Livingston. Hold on. Oh, all right. Wait, we got Joel's Burgess Meredith in Torture Garden, 1967 is my favorite thing. That we will have to look up, Lasso, you and me. And absolutely, be well, be kind, trek on.